Greetings from Fargo, North Dakota, at North Dakota State University in the United States of America. My name is Dr. JoeDeutsch, and I am a physical education professor who also specializes in recreation. You can reach me at Joe, J-O-E, period, Deutsch, D-E-U-T-S-C-H, at ndsu.edu. Today I'll be discussing the value of having a physical education specialist. A physical education specialist, or PES, as sometimes commonly referred to, has strong leadership. Strong and persistent leadership is especially important in today's reality of undervalued physical education. Even with a worldwide obesity epidemic and youth-related health issues, physical education is marginalized in the school systems worldwide. Physical education teachers need a voice and a leader to fight the good fight for them while they educate students in the gymnasium. The role of the physical education specialist. The physical education specialist should provide teachers with support and feedback. They should be used for planning of professional development, and they should initiate new ideas and concepts as well as advocate for physical education. Teacher support and feedback. Marginalization of the physical education programs as well as the teachers often leads to washout of quality teachers due to the fact that they do not feel appreciated or valued. I'm sure many of you experience this in your public school systems, where you have very high quality physical education teachers who do quality assessment, teach their students on a daily basis, use many different styles of teaching to ensure that all students learn what it is that they're supposed to learn, and they oftentimes come in contact with administrators, other teachers in the school who marginalize them, make comments that lead others to believe that the physical education is not important, and this obviously can weigh on the teacher. It makes them feel like, what is the point of me working so hard? What is the point of me trying to do the best job that I can possibly do when the people who should appreciate me the most and understand me the most don't? A physical education specialist can observe teachers and offer educated feedback on how they can more effectively teach, as well as supply appropriate resources. So, principal at a school oftentimes came from a traditional classroom setting where students sat in desks and looked up at the front of the room and learned at the front of the room. So oftentimes it's very difficult for the principal administrator at a school to provide quality feedback for their physical education teachers. If a physical education specialist was hired for the district, they could go out and give appropriate feedback to the classroom teachers in a non-threatening manner by coming in for the sole purpose of helping them become better teachers, observing them teach, and then providing them extremely educated feedback on how they can better teach and feel like they are providing quality work for their students. Planning professional development. When physical education teachers spend professional development days in training with classroom teachers, the content is neither designed for their subject nor their classroom layout or environment. Oftentimes, classroom teachers in an elementary school here in the United States will have a professional development day where they will meet at the school and go to the library and learn about a math curriculum or a reading curriculum, which is pertinent to all of the classroom teachers from kindergarten through 5th or 6th grade, whatever that school holds, but not pertinent to a physical education teacher that has completely different standards and benchmarks that are not related to the content that is provided. There can be some cross-curriculum where Mathematics can be added into some of the activities that we do in the classroom. Obviously, reading can be, but for the most part, these professional developments are geared towards the classroom teachers in each of the grade levels that are teaching these subjects. So the physical education specialist can plan professional development for the gymnasium, including activities, assessments, as well as bringing in guest speakers. So the elementary physical education specialist could meet at one of the elementary schools in the district on that day. And during that time, they can have everything from different assessments, written assessments, observation assessments of students throwing, students kicking, multiple different types of assessments that they can bring in and further make their teachers more quality teachers and make the teachers feel as if their professional development day was worthwhile and appropriate. They could also bring in guest speakers, as I stated before. Guest speakers can be, professionals in the field who can bring in a full day's worth of material from new activities that nobody in the district has done before, or activities where we take the portion of the activity one step further by adding an assessment to the activity. They can offer different perspectives on physical education or ways of delivering it that may not be familiar to the district at the time. So bringing in a guest speaker just gives people a fresh perspective and a fresh delivery method that they haven't necessarily seen before. That's sometimes more effective than being taught activities, assessments, or other content from the peers that they routinely come in contact with. They can also initiate new ideas and concepts. With the constant changes in curriculum, instruction, and accountability, the PES can share any and all information they receive and learn. So there's constant changes in the accountability that we have as physical educators. We're no longer just collecting fitness testing data and saying that that's the assessment that we do. Here in the United States, we have obviously standards and benchmarks that are offered to us by Shape America, which is the governing body of physical education in the United States of America. And these standards are provided to say that with these 5, if covered thoroughly, we can have a properly physically educated student. Okay. Within those standards, we also have benchmarks. With benchmarks, it gives us an opportunity to come up with activities and or specific assessments to help us meet those standards. So the more that we can offer people opportunities to cover this stuff, the more opportunities that they have to broaden their scope as a teacher and keep their activities, assessments, and ideas fresh. So as I stated before, the PES can share any and all this information that they receive and learn, and they have more opportunity to sort through this information and learn from this information because they are not in the classroom like the traditional physical education teacher that they're serving is. They can offer newsletter templates that teachers can send out to parents through email. They could possibly create or share self-assessments and peer assessments so that the classroom teacher who's actually having interaction with the students and teaching doesn't have to take more time outside of their busy schedule to create these type of things. Not to mention the fact that when created by or received by and given permission to share with by the PES, it's dispersed to all the teachers in the district instead of just the teacher that created it themselves keeping it for themselves. Other ways that they can provide new ideas and concepts is, low-cost ideas, or instructions for creating new equipment. Oftentimes, ingenious teachers will come up with ideas for ways to mimic expensive equipment, or just come up with brand new ideas for equipment that nobody's ever thought of. And when shared with the PES can distribute that information to other people and possibly create new exciting pieces of equipment at little to no cost. They need to be an advocate for physical education. Advocating for quality physical education programs is vital to maintaining quality physical education. Physical educators need to be proactive. They need to create and be responsible for establishing and maintaining regular communication with parents, administrators, and community members. Oftentimes, physical education teachers get stuck in their gymnasiums, so to speak, or in their silos of just their own school, and having the physical education specialist keeps a communication line open between multiple schools throughout the entire district. It keeps the communication lines open between the parents and the teachers. It keeps the communication line open between the teachers and other teachers from other schools, and it keeps the communication line open between all the important entities like the teacher, parents, administrators, and then even community members. Community members are a vital part of our continued pursuit of a physically active lifestyle, because obviously community members are a part of the community that we live in. And so if we're going to be physically active as families outside of the school day, we need to involve the community in that, whether it's recreational or it's financial support for physical activity. Now, it's not the sole job of the physical education specialist to advocate for all physical education programs, but they can certainly train the teachers to be better advocates for themselves. Oftentimes, with the marginalization that goes on, it's difficult for physical education teachers to speak up and speak on their own behalf because they don't believe that other people believe in the validity of their position and or themselves. So the PES can offer ways for teachers to step outside of their shell and be more proactive with and communicating what great things they're doing in their schools, such as that newsletter that I spoke about earlier. Suggested steps in hiring a physical education specialist. Even though there are clear benefits to having a physical education specialist, convincing the administration may be a difficult feat. Obviously, administrators don't want to create new administration positions when they're not in the budget already. So it's very important that we identify the clear benefits to them of having this physical education specialist, and how it's going to ultimately save the district money in the end. Because the physical education specialist will benefit the entire school district, it's important to gain the support of all physical education teachers in the district before you approach the administration. You don't want administrators calling specific physical education teachers and saying, tell us the value of why you want to have a physical education specialist, and have that person say, a what? Or have that person say, I don't know anything about a physical education specialist. That wouldn't be very productive for your pursuit of needing this position. So make sure that everybody understands the value of this position before you approach administration to begin funding the position. Seek out grants and other resources of funding as well. Even if it does not pay the entire salary of the position for the money, the administrator will know that you value that resource enough to go seek out other forms of funding. And again, at the end, be convincing when approaching administration. Okay, if they're going to financially support something, they need to see the value in it. So explain the value. Explain how it's going to bring everyone and everything in your district together in a united front advocating for physical education. In conclusion, we all know that marginalization continues in physical education, that teachers need to be there to have support in the form of advocacy in their field, that they need to be educated feedback from their teachers, and obviously they can't get that from their peers since their peers are teaching in other schools. So a physical education specialist would be a great person to do that. They need planned, appropriate professional development, which is very difficult for classroom teachers to do when they're teaching, and they need resource support. All things that can be provided by a physical education specialist if one were to exist in their district. So, again, at the end, we need to convince administrators of the extreme value of having a physical education specialist. They're the glue that keeps everything together and a great resource for every single person in the district. So, again, I appreciate your time and thank you very much for being with me. I look forward to discussing the value of a physical education specialist with anybody who might want to. My contact information is at the beginning. Again, Joe, Joe, period, Deutsch, Deutsch, at ndsu.edu. Thank you.